Hello, my blessed, precious family. We're once again studying this book of Psalms this week. His mercy, God's mercy, your mercies, O Lord, reaches to the heavens. We've learned that God is merciful. We've learned that he is a God whose mercy endures forever. We learned that he wants to create in us a clean heart. But today, if you, Lord, should mark iniquities, I don't know about you, but this, I'm filled up. This week's lesson is really capturing my heart because I'm in this place. Lord, if you were to mark iniquities, that is, if you kept the score. Now we know he does. Revelation 12 tells us that he keeps a score, that there's a record kept in heaven. Daniel 7 tells us that God keeps a record, that books are open, that God is writing down. So God is keeping a record. The psalmist says, though, if you, Lord, kept the record, this is Psalm 130. Lord, if you kept the record, who would be saved? Who would be able to stand? And the question is rhetorical. No one would be able to stand because God's record, Ellen White says in the book Great Controversy, is kept with terrible exactness. That God does not make mistakes. When he keeps a record, he keeps a record. But the psalmist we'll learn today in Psalm 130 is begging God, Lord, have mercy. He says, I cried to you, Lord, from the depths of my affliction. I cried out to you. Let your ears be attentive, O God, to the voice of my supplication. Please hear me. Lord, if you, verse 3, if you kept the record of iniquities, who would be able to stand? But there is forgiveness, verse 4, but there is forgiveness with you, O God. That you're waiting simply for us to come. And you'll learn in today's lesson that this waiting is not regular waiting. This is the stretching of the heart out to God. It is looking for God. It is reaching to God. We wait actively for God, asking him to come into our experience. The psalmist does not just want his own cleansing and God's help and God's mercy. In the closing verses of this beautiful chapter, Psalm 130, he asks the same for all of the people of Israel. And our sense of God's grace should not just be for us. We should want God's mercy for everyone else as well. What a blessing it is to study today. Today's lesson is such a blessing. Lord, if you should keep a record, who would stand?